guys, and welcome to this week's edition of the comic strip. I am Zaphod, and I am here to talk to you about some comics today. For those of you who haven't tuned in before, this is my weekly comic kind of a review where I get to, tell you a little bit about what I read this week, kind of get all giddy about some of it, but I try to keep it as spoiler-free as I can because I understand the joy of reading something for the first time. And I understand how much it sucks when somebody ruins that for you. So I try to keep it spoiler-free. So don't worry, I won't spoil anything big for you guys. And if I ever step over the line and, accidentally say something, just let me know and I will endeavor to not do so in the future. Alrighty, so let's get started. So this was the last week of the month, and a lot of times that ends up with it being just a little bit of a lighter week, unless it's like a 5-week month and then they just throw stuff at you like nobody's business. So this week I did not have that many titles to read, which was kind of nice, a little bit refreshing. But there were some really good ones, which I'd love to talk to you guys about. So let's dig in. The first one that I'm going to talk about, the first one that I read, this is the first part of the new Southern Bastards story arc. And in this arc, you get to learn more about Coach Boss, who, we all know about him and how horrible he is. So, get to learn a little bit more about him. The first arc was insane. It was crazy. If you guys haven't read it, oh my gosh, what are you waiting for? If you haven't read Southern Bastards and you like a gritty, awesome story, you have to check it out. I'm just saying. The first arc, incredible, 4 issues. Oh my god. And the second arc is stepping up to be magnificent as well. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Those of you who have checked it out, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So good on you. Next up we have Saga issue 24. This is a very rad cover with some new characters we haven't seen before. Amazing issue as always. This is the end of the story arc, which means that they're gonna take the Saga hiatus and they'll be back in early 2015. So sad, but for those of you who haven't read Saga, now's a great time to catch up because you'll have plenty of time to catch up on the trades. And there's a hardcover on the horizon too. Very interesting. It's got a Hazel sucking on giant old Alana boob. But I'm totally going to pick up the hardcover. I've got the paperbacks, but I'm always upgrade when they do that because I love Saga and I was so stoked to hear that they were going to do a hardcover. And for those of you who are hardcover whores like I am, Sex Criminals also has a hardcover announced, which I'm really stoked on, which is going to be with me before long. I have the convention exclusive Sex Criminals hardcover, but it's only the first volume and this one's going to be more than that. Anyway, back to what we're talking about this week. We have, Low number 4. Oh my gosh. If you guys aren't reading this, this is some of the most crazy, awesome sci-fi art going on right now. And it's Rick Remender, so you know it's an incredible story. Really good. So beautiful. Like I said, the imagery is just gorgeous. I can't even get over it. It's building up to be a really cool, really cool story. So, definitely worth checking out. If only 4 issues out, still not too hard to track that all down. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. I highly recommend it. And now we have a new title from Alex Grecian. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And Riley Rossmo over from Image. This title called Rasputin. And I dig Riley Rossmo, so I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll totally give that a try. And I'm really glad that I did because it's pretty cool. So this is a story about Rasputin, a man who can bring people back from the dead, and a man who knows what his fate is going to be. It's very interesting, very cool, learn about Rasputin growing up a little bit. Very interesting story and concept. I'm really dug this first issue, and I'm really excited to see what more they're going to bring. So definitely one worth checking out if that sounds interesting to you. Which then we have Batman Eternal here, number 30. Before too long, we're going to see Batman Eternal's numbers beating Batman's in probably like 2 months, I'm imagining. So things are really dark in this issue for Batwing, and for those of you who are reading Arkham Manor, this issue 30 of Batman Eternal is a good one to pick up because it kind of leads into that. So definitely worth checking out if you are checking out Arkham Manor. Next up we have from Zub, we've got Wayward number 3. There are 2 covers for this one. I really love this one, so I snagged it. And in this one, you know, Rory's met a few other people with strange, mysterious powers, and learning that Japan is much stranger than she thought it was to begin with. This is very interesting, very cool. You get to see Japan from a foreigner's perspective, and, you know, paranormal Japan as well, which is very, very interesting, and getting into trouble with her newfound powers. Next up, we have another new number 1. This one is from Marvel. By Nathan Edmondson and Mike Perkins. This is Deathlok number 1. This is actually the first thing I've ever read of Deathlok. You know, I've seen him on S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff, and I'm familiar with the character. This is the first time I've read it, and I love Nathan Edmondson, so I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll give it a try. Very interesting concept. I don't want to, you know, spoil too much, but the first issue had a lot of really interesting things going on. Interesting core concept. And he's a single dad living 2 lives, you know, normal civilian life and, you know, Deathlok life. First I've read of the character. It's a good first impression. If you guys have been curious about the character and you haven't checked it out, as someone who hasn't read it, it's a great starting point. If you like the character and you're interested in checking it out, hey, there's new Deathlok for you guys, so check it out. Yeah. So then next up we have, just for funsies, because I always dig it, Adventure Time, Banana Guard Academy. The series is delightful. Of course it is, because it's Adventure Time. We love it. And the cadets are fighting over a scenario where they're trying to figure out what to do. And it's just a delightful read, because it makes me happy. Then we have Roche Limit number 2. Where our main character, Alex, is trying to hunt down some missing girls. And you go learn about why he's at Roche Limit and a little bit more about what his story is, which is very compelling. This is definitely one of the more wordy comics. At first I was like, ooh, maybe I'm not ready for it just at this point in the evening, but then, you know, flipped a couple pages and it really sucks you in. So it's one of those ones that it is a little bit dialogue heavy, so if you're a little tired, maybe not the right time to read it, but it is a very cool story and it's well worth reading, and it rewards you for reading all those words, which I feel silly. It's far fewer words than a book, but sometimes you flip it open and you're like, whoa, words. But really good, really cool concept, so I'm interested to see where it goes, especially with what I've learned in this issue. It really intrigues me. And then last up for the night, we have another really fun one. We have Tukey number 2 from Jeff Smith. This is a fun one. It's been a little while since issue 1, and he's doing it pretty much all by himself with his company. It's first colored stuff that's being put out in single issue from Cartoon Books. So it's really cool. It's a flip comic, so it opens, I mean, it's like this, but when you open it, you're going to be reading the whole issue like this, which is interesting. I wonder when they collect it if they're going to keep it in this format and have it sideways, or if they're going to do like a awkward size long hardcover, which I always think they're cool, but they're just so hard to display on a shelf. But it's great. It's very animated. Cartoon Books is the perfect term for his company, because it is so animated and you can see it, everything happening. It's very, very cool. I really dig it. Yay, Jeff Smith. Anyway, that's it for me this week. I'm really excited. Tomorrow I'm off to Seattle to go see Patrick Rothfuss. Yay! For a thing he's doing for his new book, The Slow Regard of Silent Things, which I'm stoked on. And I also get to catch mice that are in my house, apparently. Yay! They're eating my food and they're pooping everywhere! Awesome! My problem is, I also think they're really, really adorable, even though they're, you know, diseased little beasties. So I got some live traps and some steel wool to plug up their holes. Anyway, that's more about my day than you probably cared to hear about, but there you go. My question for you guys this week is, how do you display your single issues? Are you one of the people who just puts them in a short box, a long box? I know some people who just put them up on their bookshelves. Do you put yours up on a wall, frame any particular issues? It's always tricky because, you know, once you've read them, what do you do with them? I put mine in short boxes personally, with a few that I will pull out and put up in comic frames for ones that I think are particularly badass. But those of you out there, how do you store your comics? Just let me know. Drop it in the comments if you have any questions or anything. I'd love to hear from you guys. Until next week, have a good one, and I hope you're reading some good comics out there.